Hello, and welcome to Simple Interest. My name's Tuesday Johnson. Here's an introduction to concept with applications. Maybe. Alright, there we go. So let's talk about the formula. The simple interest on an investment or loan of PV dollars at an annual interest rate of R for a time of T years is INT equals PV times R times T. Now the term simple, let's start there, refers to the type of equation. It doesn't contain exponents. So it doesn't necessarily mean easy, although it turns out to be a little easier than what we get into next. That doesn't make it hard though, the stuff in the future. PV stands for a present value, a term we will use frequently for financial formulas. And you can always find the future value, which we represent by FV, by adding the interest to the present value, right? The money you had plus the interest you made is your future value. Let's look at some skills examples, and we're going to find the simple interest. Remember, here's our formula. INT equals PV times R times T. So we have $2,000 invested for 3 years at 5% per year. Our PV, our present value, is $2,000. The interest rate is 5%. Remember, percents are for humans, decimals are for calculations. So 5% is 5 out of 100, or it also looks like 5 cents, and that's how I think of it. 5%, I leave the per out. I write it as a decimal as 5 cents. And the time is, of course, 3 years. Substituting in our formula, we'll have 2,000 times 0.05 times 3. We'll put this all into the calculator at once, and we'll get $300 of interest. Second problem. Now, 5,000 is invested for 18 months at 2.1% per month. First, we identify our variables. PV is 5,000. R is 0.021 per month, and T is 18 months. Now, up here we had years and per year. Here we have months and per month. And I chose to write it here, but as long as these match, everything's good to go. We'll just use our formula. 5,000 times 0.021 times 18 will give us $1,890 of interest. But you're not always going to have a problem where these units match up. So let's look at one like this. $750 is invested for 3 months at 2% per year. So now the units don't match up. One's talking about months and one's talking about years. So let's identify our variables. PV is 750. Our interest rate is 2% or 0.02 per year, and T is 3 months. So we want everything in terms of whatever the rate is. If the rate is in months, time should be in months. If the rate's in years, time should be in years. So since the rate is per year, we think about 3 months. How much of a year is that? Well, there's 12 months in a full year, and we're only using 3 of them. That's exactly what fractions tell us, right? 3 parts of the 12 that make up a whole. And you could simplify this too, and absolutely in this case you could use a decimal. But I'm going to type it in my calculator exactly as I have it written here. 750 at 2% per year for a quarter of a year. You're not making very much interest. You're making $3.75, but we should still wrap it up with words. Problem starts with words. We should be ready to finish it with words. $1,500 is invested for 2 years at 1.5% per month. Again, years, months. We're going to stick with the units of the rate. So PV equals 1,500. Our rate is 0.015 per month. Time is 2 years. So when I substitute, notice here for my time, right? INT equals 1,500 times 0.015. Instead of using 2, I changed that 2 years into months. 2 years is 24 months, and so my T value is going to be 24. And when I do this multiplication, we'll end up with, you would earn $540 in interest. That's not bad. Okay, why is this one so small, yet this one's so big? Here, the interest only accrues at the end of the year, and you don't even leave it in for a year. All right, so you're not going to make a lot. But here, interest is accrued every month. So accrued, gained, earned. And you've done that for 24 months, so you've earned a lot of money each month. All right. Let's talk about taxes, kind of. Let's talk about being in a hurry for your tax refund, really. You're expecting a tax refund of $1,000 in 4 weeks. A tax preparer offers you a $1,000 loan for a fee of $50 to be repaid by your refund check when it arrives in 4 weeks. What they really tell you is, we'll pay you the amount of your refund, but it'll cost you $50 to get it done. All right? This person's refund happens to be $1,000. Thinking of the fee as interest, what weekly simple interest rate would you be paying on this loan? Second question, what is the corresponding annual rate? So let's take a look at the first question. We have a present value of $1,000. We have no idea what the rate is. We know that our time is 4 weeks. And our interest, right, thinking of the fee as interest, fee of $50 is our interest. We could find our rate, right? And we want a weekly simple interest rate. So this rate is going to be weekly. So I could use 4 for my weeks. We're going to substitute, and we're going to combine on the right-hand side, right? 4 times 1,000 is 4,000. We still have our R. We'll isolate the R value and find that this is a weekly interest rate of 1.25%, which that's a pretty small number. We don't really think much of it. That's not too bad, right? I can handle that. But this is the key. What is the corresponding annual rate? All right, we still have everything identified. But now, because we want an annual rate, our time needs to be in years. Well, 4 weeks, there are 4 weeks we're considering out of the 52 total weeks in a year. So 450 seconds times 1,000 R equals 50. 450 seconds, that's weird. I'm going to simplify on the right. And if you wanted to simplify this to 1 over 13 before you begin, you'll end up here anyway. 1,000 R over 13 equals 50. And then to isolate the rate, we'll multiply by the reciprocal. We'll divide by 1,000 over 13, but nobody wants to divide by a fraction. So we'll multiply by the reciprocal. 13 over 1,000 times 50 is our rate. That's a 65% interest rate, people. Don't do this. Don't be that hard up for money. I know that's easy to say, right? Much harder to do. But think about it, right? There might be better ways of going about getting that $1,000 earlier than paying your big tax preparers. And if my mom ever hears this video, she'd probably agree with me. She works for one of the big tax preparers, and she's also going to be telling you that. All right, one more. A $4,000 loan taken now with a simple interest rate of 8% per year will require a total repayment of $4,640. When will it mature? Now, mature means when will it be due? When will you have to have it all paid off? So we identify our variables. We know the present value is $4,000. We know the rate is 0.08 per year. We have no idea what the time is, but our future value is $4,640. Remember that interest plus present value equals our future value. So we can rework that equation and find that future value minus present value is equal to our interest. So if we have both present and future values, we could easily find the amount of interest. And we can go back to our nice, simple interest formula. Interest is PV, 4,000, times the rate, times time. We'll combine, simplify on the right-hand side. We'll isolate T to get 2. And we find that this loan will mature in 2 years. All right, you've got this. Simple interest. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.